Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is October 11th, 2015. My name is Eric Peterson, and the only one not sick or predisposed, and joining me today, Mr. Daniel Curtis.
Oh, you actually sounded quite thrilled.
I was quite happy that you decided to join us. And because we had time to record a video before the show today.
We did. Doesn't happen often. Remember when we said we were going to do one every Thursday?
Well, I'm always around. You're never around.
I feel like Thursdays.
No, you're not.
I am.
I feel like even though you are not married and don't have kids and have a job where you're done at 5 o'clock, you are very, very, very busy.
Yes.
Either that or you just don't want to be friends with me.
That's pretty much it, to be honest. You hit the nail right on the head.
Damn it, I figured it out.
Oh, gosh. So, Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Dan. I'm doing
Good.
I'm doing very well. It's been fall break, so work has been interesting from home, having Christy and the kid home all week.
Fall break? You get time off randomly in autumn?
Yeah, the schools, they get fall break, they get Christmas break.
I thought you meant you did.
No. You do
okay.
remember that I work for myself on my own schedule, so if I wanted to take time off, I could.
Yeah, you mentioned it once or twice.
Just once or twice?
Just once or twice, or like constantly for the last few months.
Unfortunately, I don't, because I'm always busy, so doing so would be a detriment to my productivity.
Well, yes, you have to keep busy, otherwise you won't earn any money.
Yeah.
Which would be unfortunate.
Yes. Yeah. How are you, Dan?
And then you really would have to live in a hut in the desert.
Yeah.
Which would be good. Yeah, I'm good, I think. All good.
You think?
Yeah. I'm still on a bit of a Battlefront high.
You think you're doing well?
Yes.
Are you going through a bit of an existential crisis?
Well, no complaints, so I think I'm okay. You know, I don't like to be too positive. That just jinxes things.
Well, that's not the British way.
No.
The British way is just angry pessimism 100%.
The British way, honestly, Eric, right, the British way is it's raining, and then we'll go outside and go, oh, it's raining. It's just the way it is. Every single time. We are never happy with anything.
No, I never thought you would be.
No. It's ingrained into our culture. You must complain.
I come from the Midwest where it rains occasionally, but not nearly as much as it rains. Like, is it just that's all it does all the time is just rain?
I haven't seen sunlight for 6 years.
No wonder you're so pale.
No, you're just tanned because you get incinerated by the sun every day.
It's actually, I think...
Arizona is the closest place you can be to, like, actually living on the sun.
3 or 4 days ago, we had just a monster storm roll through, and it clouded up the sky pretty much the entire day. And I looked at Christy like, I don't remember the last time we didn't see the sun.
Wow. No, it'd be a shock to the system for you if you ever come to England. It really would.
Do you even own shorts?
What are those? What are you talking about?
They're pants that aren't long enough.
See, when you say pants, what do you mean?
Underwear, obviously, but I know that you don't wear knickers.
Does your underwear go down to your ankle?
Yeah, I wear long johns.
Sexy.
Yeah, they're hot, especially when I've got
Imagine
my
you coming around a doorway on a night and go, hello, Christy.
Hey, let me strip these off.
Oh, dear.
Wait.
Do apologise, everyone.
So,
don't need that.
We need to explain this for people who might not understand the British vernacular. Pants, for us in America, means things you put over your legs. Like jeans, or cargos, or khakis, or slacks.
Yes.
But in England, it means underwear. For particularly men?
No, just in general.
I thought knickers was female
We
underwear.
would say knickers, but you could also just say, there's your pants.
So what do you call pants?
Trousers.
Oh, for God's sakes.
That's what they are.
That makes no sense.
So do you not call them trousers at all?
Yeah, when we're making fun of something. I'll go put my trousers on. Makes you sound like you're getting ready to climb onto a tractor and mow some hay.
That's what we do.
I see.
That's what. Just before we record that video, I was out on my tractor, just going through that road that goes through my house.
Breaking in your new trousers. Jesus. So you wear knickers, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, because you're a girl.
Yes, the more feminine, the better, really.
Silky knickers.
Oh yeah, they don't just feel so good.
Stupid.
Yes, you said it.
I could picture it. Dang, going knicker shopping. Is that what you call it? You're gonna go knicker shopping?
Who goes shopping just for underwear?
Girls? Christy gets these free Victoria's Secret coupons for free. I don't remember the last time she actually paid for underwear. Victoria's Secret just sends her coupons all the time. So every couple of weekends, she's like, I'm going to go get some underwear from Victoria's Secret for free.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never get to see it.
She just brings it home, puts it there.
No, but I think, I honestly believe that underwear shopping is probably the most boring task in the world. Just, who cares?
I wonder if I would sign up if they'd send them to me as well.
Yeah, it's sexism, that, Eric.
But then I could give it to Christy and she could have twice as many.
Yeah. Do that. It's a good plan.
Or I could
like
buy
it.
them.
I don't think we even have that over here, you know.
Victoria's Secret?
I know what it is, but we don't have it.
Oh, you're missing out, my friend. It is a fabulous...
We have Ann Summers.
You have what?
Ann Summers.
That sounds like an old lady's bakery.
Oh, it's proper tacky, horrible underwear. It's
Ann
really horrible.
Summers.
Yeah.
The hell did... Oh, sex toys. What does that have to do with Victoria's Secret?
It's a bra shop.
Oh my God, those look painful.
I like how they've got an erotic section.
God.
Crotchless knickers.
Do they call them knickers on the website? No, they don't. Suck it.
They do.
No, they don't. Where?
They do on this website. On
Knickers and thongs.
Wow, this picture doesn't leave much to the imagination.
I'm going to get back to the gaming podcast. We have this...
You can literally see that woman's vagina.
We have this...
Yes, back to games.
We have this affinity for getting sidetracked very quickly and very heavily.
Yes.
And it does not take long.
No. I think that's why people listen, though.
Yes.
They don't care about the games. Just
I went back and listened to that episode where we were exploring the various clothing choices of one Lara Croft.
Oh, yes. That got dark quickly.
Man, you took that downhill fast. Tom and I were debating because we were kind of listening to it around the same time, and there comes a point where we decide to start looking for this, and then the length of time between that decision and then when you show us, like, I found the worst one, was a little too short for it to have been an internet search and browse, and Tom's like, I bet he had that bookmarked.
I did, of course.
You've just got a bookmark column of sexy Lara Croft.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I like this stuff.
I do. Lara Croft really does it. Particularly when she didn't look like a human back in the day.
Have you seen those people that do like traditional Lara Croft cosplay where they get their face like all blocky and then put cardboard under their boobs and stuff so it looks all pointed?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's kind of like the people who did the retro Solid Snake cosplay. They make them look all polygonal.
It's kind of terrifying, actually.
That's pretty sweet.
One of the best cosplays I ever saw was somebody dressed up like Shell of Portal. And
oh yeah,
she had those things, because you know how she has the like things on her feet.
Yeah, she had the running blades.
Yeah, she had the running blades on. It was really cool. Really liked it.
Huh. Did she have one of those authentic portal guns?
Then she did it as well. Yeah.
You know what I kind of want to do for
She
Christmas?
She also had a companion cube.
Something that I want to do for Christmas this year that I've seen online, but I don't think Christy would allow me to, is a portal Christmas tree. Have you seen those?
No.
Where you get you get orange and blue rope light, and then on the floor you put one color, and then you take the tree and split it in half. And so you take the bottom half of the tree and turn it upside down in the floor, and then you put the blue rope light on the ceiling and have the top of the tree come out of the ceiling.
That's so cool.
I don't think... Where would you put the presents?
I don't know. It's quite a cool idea, though.
It is pretty sweet. But I'd do it someplace dumb, like have the top of it coming out of the living room and then the other part in the kitchen floor.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. I'm getting excited for the holidays. It means it's time to start making stockings again.
Yeah. You're making me one this year.
Depends. Are you going to be nice?
No.
What do you want?
Definitely not. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
That's pretty vague.
Vague. I don't know. I have to think about
it. Ponder it. Give it thoughts.
I would like a cloud strife.
Not a solid snake?
No.
No. Okay, then.
That should be hard to do.
What would?
Cloud.
Oh, God, Dan. So high maintenance.
Yeah, I like to challenge you.
The solid snake would be more challenging.
Well, not if you can find a kind of 16-bit spritey version of it, I guess.
I designed my own.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, get used to with your artisticness.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a word.
Artisticness?
Okay. Artisticness. Yeah, we'll take it. It's fine.
It's close enough to make us question it, so yes. I'm not even going to Google it. I'm just going to say it is possibly a word.
It is a word. Trust me. It's fine.
Artistic. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, when you combine those parts of...
Yeah, like when you see somebody who's got art skills and you go, they've got artisticness. Yeah, it's right, isn't it?
I think you would say they are artistic.
Ness.
Ness is the quality. They are artistic.
Oh, God. English teacher.
Did I tell you that in my senior grammar level class, I tried to convince my grammar teacher to let my senior thesis be on the word balls as a qualifier?
You did, yes.
Because she kept asking, I was in this kick in college, and it's just dumb, just stupid, where I'd say, if something was dumb, like, that's dumb as balls. And I got some of my friends in class hooked on it, and we kept saying that. And she's like, why are you using that word? It makes no sense. I'm like, it's a qualifier. Because we were going over qualifiers at that time, and she's like, it is not. And I said, I'm going to do my senior thesis paper on balls as a qualifier. And I totally would have done this 10-page paper on it. But instead, I did it on Ebonics.
Oh, how disappointing.
Nah, the Ebonics paper is actually pretty fun to write.
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
Ebonics is African American Vernacular English, AAVE.
Okay. I think you should have done it about balls, Eric.
I don't think I would have graduated.
Just imagine on the front, just Eric Peterson, balls.
Why, balls describes everything.
I like it. I could do mine on pants, because I like to say pants.
Oh, man, we could just be a veritable duo of intellectualness.
Pants and balls.
Is this pants or is this balls? An in-depth analysis.
You know when we were talking about those tangents again?
Yeah, here we are. Pants and balls.
I think, right, games.
I feel like this kind of ties in with retroness because this has been a long, long time coming. And the beta for Star Wars Battlefront kicked off last Thursday.
It did.
I'm actually surprised that you were able to download it with as garbage as your internet is.
It took 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I think it was longer than that, actually.
Nations have risen and fallen in shorter time.
I know. My God. Have you seen the latest patch for The Witcher 3?
Yeah, isn't it like 32 gigs?
It's 17 gig. I took one look and just went, no.
What did they
Just
change
don't
in
bother.
that?
I don't have no idea.
I saw an article that
everything.
said 328 of the changes in The Witcher. So I'm thinking, well, if they only isolated 328, there's got to be more.
But it wasn't that bad anyway.
No, but I think it was improvements and tweaks. And
I still need to finish that. I just haven't got time.
I think I had the interest to go and finish it now that I've played Metal Gear, because that kind of reignited my passion for open world.
Yeah. I've got too much to play at the moment.
Yeah. So back to Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
We played the beta. I played quite a bit of it. I started playing it on Thursday, and then Matt Eads wanted to play, so I had to play on my PC, and it still worked pretty well on I've got a mid-level gaming PC, so it still looks really good. I wasn't too keen on the keyboard and mouse controls, and then switching to a controller on there, you're still just going to get stomped anyway. But the game looks gorgeous on PS4. It is easily handled.
It really does, considering this is just the beta as well. Looks fantastic.
Well, I think this is pretty close to a finished product. The game launches in 4 weeks.
Well, that doesn't stop people from releasing an unfinished game, let's face it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
let us not forget Tony Hawk 5.
Let's not forget Battlefield 4. Holy cow, that game was broken for a long time.
It was. Is it even fixed?
Yeah. I just kind of stopped playing because it was so broken constantly.
See, I never liked Battlefield, which is why I was wary going into Battlefront.
And I think that's one of the things that they really took into consideration is that, yes, it's DICE, and DICE knows how to put together a first-person shooter. I mean, Battlefield 3 was fantastic. Battlefield 4 is incredible once they got all the bugs ironed out. So they know how to do a shooter. But those games are generally grounded in pretty heavy reality. The movement, the kickback on the guns and all of that. And I think a lot of people were saying this is just going to be Battlefield reskinned with Star Wars. And I'm really glad that they didn't just do that, because that would have been an easy way out. It would have been good. I probably still would have played it, but it wouldn't have felt right.
Yeah, but it does feel like its own separate entity, doesn't it? I mean, it's actually all the authenticity of the guns. It's like, because of the laser rifles, it has all the noises and stuff of Star Wars. Obviously, it would. Exactly like that. That's all he did for the video, all the time.
Every time you shoot, pew pew.
Yeah, and then just the openness of the maps and the verticality of it all, and it just, like you said, it looks fantastic.
The particle effects are incredible.
Yeah, just the big feel of the battle, like the one where it's on Hoth with the Walker AT-ATs and stuff. That's fantastic.
I really do like the Walker Assault, and I'm curious to see how they're going to take that game mode into other maps and other planets, because obviously they can't call all of them Walker Assault unless they do, and you're just defending bases from walkers. That game is, for people who haven't played it, is most comparable to, I want to say it was called Rush in Battlefield.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Where it starts in one location, and then the people defending have to keep the attackers from progressing the map to the next circle. The only difference here is that once the map progresses to the next circle, it does not isolate and shut down the previous sections, which I really enjoyed, because in Battlefield it's like, okay, we've got these huge maps, but we're progressing through them chunk at a time, and it just kind of took away from the scope and size of it. But the Imperials are defending against the... No, the Imperials are attacking.
Other way around, dearest.
The Imperials are attacking using their walkers. They're trying to destroy the rebel base on Hoth. But the rebels have to they have to bring on the uplinks to get the A-wings to come in and bomb the AT-ATs so that you can destroy them. If the AT-ATs make it to the third stage, they come in, they bomb them, and then you have snow speeders that you can trip them. So the objective for the Rebels is to destroy the AT-ATs. The objective for the Imperials is to destroy the base. It is very, very, very heavily balanced towards the Imperials. I think I've played one match as a Rebel where we won. It's very difficult.
That'll be tweaked before it's out, probably. So this is obviously why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But going back to how you said about the other battles, I know there's one on Endor, where they attack the base on Return of the Jedi, where with the Death Star and stuff, it has a shield, doesn't it? Or something. So I imagine that'll be all incorporated. You'll have the speeder bikes through the jungle and stuff, and it'll be awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
I hope you get to play as Ewoks.
That was my one concern going into this, is that I hadn't seen, and maybe it was just because I didn't really look hard enough, but I hadn't really seen any videos about vehicles. And that's a big, big aspect of the Star Wars universe, is all these fantastic vehicles. And then bringing in DICE with their big open world games and their vehicles for combat, it just makes things a little bit more fluid. And discovering that you have all of these different airships that you can fly around, the snow speeders, the A-wings, the Y-wings, the TIE fighters, it's done so well. And it's not super hyper realistic. Like flying the jets in Battlefield took a lot of practice, and even still,
I couldn't do it. Can you remember?
Yeah. And
I just used to crash all the time.
I was really good at flight sim games, so I could stay aloft. But if you get somebody who's a really good pilot, you're toast. You get people on the ground that have anti-air missiles, you're toast. This game is super balanced to where last night I played a match and all I did was stay in 2 TIE fighters the whole match. That was it. So you can stay aloft. And it's done in such a way that it's really approachable for newcomers, where you can hop in and be like, all right, I'm going to fly around and shoot stuff. And like I had to explain to you when we first jumped in today, the other tweak that they made in Battlefield, where you would choose your spawn point, you don't choose a spawn point anymore, and you cannot spawn directly into vehicles. So I remember, and obviously I was one of those people, that I would sit at the spawn location, I'd sit at the spawn screen and wait for a jet to pop up, and then I'd spawn directly into it. They got rid of that. So everything is on the map now as pickups. They're just...
I like this aspect as well, because it adds an extra element to it. Like, if you can get to it, then you'll have something surprising, because it's completely random what you pick up.
Yeah, and
basically. I like that a lot, rather than having set score streaks and stuff like that.
I really enjoy that. Instead of knowing where everything is going to be, it kind of forces you to just immerse yourself in the battle happening, and there's a power up, I'm going to get it. So it encourages that whole, okay, this is the main objective, but here are your power-ups. And anybody can get them.
Yeah, if somebody gets it ahead of you, you can't pick it up.
Yep.
So it's not like... But the best part about the power-ups is, of course, getting to be one of the heroes or the villains.
You were so happy cool when you got Vader.
Oh, it was so cool.
It is really cool.
Because of the graphic quality of this as well, he just looks awesome.
Yeah.
So detailed, all his suit and stuff, and then I just walked straight into the middle of loads of rebels, and they were all trying to shoot me, and I just swiped them away with my lightsaber. Got about 6 kills. It was just so good.
Well, did you do the chokehold on someone?
I didn't. I just went with the lightsaber and got everyone.
The chokehold is so
cool. There was too many of them, and the lightsaber hit loads of people.
I was following a guy around the other night who was Vader, and he was chokeholding everybody, and he'd pick him up, and I'd steal his kills as he was choking them.
Nice. So what's Luke Skywalker's special abilities?
I believe he can throw his lightsaber stupidly far.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's real cool. And then he's got this power attack.
On the original Battlefronts, I loved how you could be the heroes. And you could... what they have taken out, which I'll miss, is that you could do like a super leap on the old one, where you could jump across most of the map.
You can jump pretty far as a hero, but not super leap far.
But they do have jetpacks. for normal infantry, which is good.
Yeah, but that's another balancing issue that they had in the beta, was that everything you get, you have to unlock through playing. So since there's only one Walker Assault map, everybody's going to be dumped into that map. So if you just joined the beta, you have a blaster, and that is it. And you could be facing off against people who have sniper rifles and imploders and jetpacks and shields and all this shit, and you're just going to get rolled. So I think that's what lends a little bit to the unbalanced factor of the beta, and I think once the full version comes out, that stuff is just naturally going to take care of itself.
Oh yeah, it's a really good, before we've discussed this in the past, Eric, I wasn't completely sold on it. So I was just, because I think I had all these concerns, like you said, about being like Battlefield, but after actually delving into it, playing it a little bit, I can feel it is its own game, and they have done a lot with it rather than just sticking a skin on Battlefield. It actually feels like a really good, strong sequel to the original Battlefronts. It could have more to it, like space battles.
Yeah,
I imagine. I'm still kind of annoyed about that, but
I'm kind of hoping, because they do have a season pass coming with this, and I'm kind of hoping that even if they don't incorporate the space battle has an effect on what's happening on the ground. I mean, look at the Hoth battle that we played, for example. If you look up in the sky, there's clearly shit going on up there. They could have very easily made that a separate aspect, but I think the logistics behind that, because it's 20 on 20, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 20 on 20. So maybe even if it would have been a smaller battle, like if they would have upped the total player count to 60 and had 20 on 20, and then a smaller space battle happening on like a Star Destroyer where it's 10v10 or something, where whoever was winning up there had a direct impact on what was available on the ground. I think stuff like that would have been really cool.
It would, but I can see it would be very technically hard to do, I imagine.
I still think the best would be to have the ability to switch between those. If you could get into some sort of...
just jump in a jet and go into space. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome. Maybe someday.
Maybe in 5 years, when Battlefront 5's out.
Hopefully. I mean, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest Star Wars nerd. I've always had a little bit more of an affinity for Star Trek, just because of the scientific nature behind it. But I'm really excited for this game.
I love the original Star Wars trilogy, but I don't like the new ones at all.
I like them. So. I can appreciate them for what they are. They didn't do the series justice, obviously, but...
I liked the Revenge of the Sith game, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
We did.
I'm heading to the game store today, and I'm going to see if I can find both of the Battlefronts and that Revenge of the Sith, because I want to play those.
I think I've still got Battlefront 2 somewhere. I'll investigate when I go home this Monday.
Because I have very, very limited memories of the Battlefront games. I never owned them. My buddies owned them, and we played very infrequently. So I just don't remember playing them.
Oh, see, on Battlefront 2, there was in the space battles, you basically have two huge Star Destroyers. And you would start out and everybody would be in their own vehicles, like TIE fighters, Y-Wings, stuff like that. And you would have to destroy satellite dishes and shield generators across the Imperial destroyers. Mm-hmm. And once you'd done that, you could go actually inside them. And it had its own interior, and you had to get to the core and destroy it and stuff.
So here's a question for you regarding Battlefront 2. Obviously, it'd still be cool to have the game in the collection, but is there any sort of single-player aspect to it? Or can you play...
Yes, it has a single-player component.
But can you play those large-scale battles with bots?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I could still get a mild appreciation for it without having to play online, because obviously
I never used to play it online back then, because that was a long time ago. This is like original Xbox PS2 era where online play wasn't as common. Huh. So
all of your memories of it come from playing single player against the computer.
No, I used to play it with my friends as well.
Okay,
we used to do a split screen. It was good fun. I remember it. Really good time with that game. So I'm pretty stoked for the new one. It does look good.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what things that they're going to be putting in the game that they haven't necessarily revealed. I feel like
I hope there is a lot, because I feel like everything gets revealed ahead of time. That's why I'm excited for Fallout this year. They just kind of went, it's coming out this year. We're not going to tell you anything.
yeah, I've got a friend who will consume every piece of information about a game before it comes out, and then he gets these games and he's not as excited about them once he plays them. And we were chatting about that, and I said, dude, you just need to stop reading about the games, because he reads everything, good and bad, and that kind of becomes his opinion of it then when he starts playing it. It's like, you got to leave some things for surprise.
I think you get it in your head, you get so much hype that no matter what you get, it'll never fulfill it.
Well, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is Just Cause 3. I'm not reading anything about it. The game already sold me on the fact that, hey, it's coming out. I love Just Cause 2. I'm going to love Just Cause 3, but I'm not going to watch any videos. I'm not going to read any reviews. I'm just going to buy it because it's a series that I really enjoy. Christy and I both love the Just Cause series. And
oh, yeah, they're always good fun.
It could be a huge step backwards from Just Cause 2, and I'm still going to buy it on the principle that, hey, it's a Just Cause game. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to play it and love it, because that's ultimately what a review boils down to, is it's one person's opinion.
Yep.
And
it can have a lot of weight with some people.
Yeah, if you find somebody whose opinion meshes with yours, then it's like, okay, I take your word for it. But certain series, like, I'm going to buy Final Fantasy 15. I don't care. I'm going to be buying it.
Yeah, I'd buy that straight away. The only Final Fantasies I've never bought are the ones which are spin-offs or the online ones.
I didn't buy 13.3.
I've been replaying that,
13.3?
The last couple of weeks, yeah. It's actually a very good game.
Well, I remember playing Lightning Returns at E3, and the combat was awesome.
That is Lightning Returns, Eric.
I know.
Okay, just
That's
checking.
what I'm saying. I remember playing it at E3, and the combat was awesome.
Yeah, it's a hybrid of the original, but you've just got lightning, and you can switch between different like dress spheres of Final Fantasy X, kind of. Mm-hmm. And as you switch, each has an individual gauge, which has its own like active time battle elements. You could switch to. They're called schemas, and you could switch to your other schema and then spam loads of attacks with that one, switch back to your other one, which just charge up while you're using that one. And it's very, very fast-paced and very difficult, Eric, when you get... Because that doesn't have a normal RPG progression system. You get levels up by doing quests.
Yeah.
Which is very different. And you have to... Basically, the best way to upgrade your character is to beat one of the bosses, because there's 4 distinct areas, each with their own like last boss. When you beat that, you get quite a good level up, but getting past that first one, where you're quite underpowered, is very tricky.
See, the 13 series just lost me halfway through 2. I remember you buying it, and you're like, it's really good, so I went out and bought it, and I played through about half of it and went, well, I don't know what the hell this story is going on about, and that's the main point of a Final Fantasy game, is the story, and it's like, done.
Storyline-wise, it's not the best, but 13.3 is quite good, and it's different. I mean, it's got the countdown clock and stuff.
Kind of like the Majora's Mask.
Yeah, but you can extend the time by saving people's souls and stuff like that, and I actually quite like it.
Huh. Maybe I'll give that a look.
It's kind of open-worldy, and it's quite cool to be able to customize Lightning's outfits and make it look awesome and stuff, and get really good weapons.
Have you heard of Final Fantasy X-2, Daniel?
I have, yes. I have the HD remake.
Dresses, super.
Unfortunately, I did buy it for the PS3 before the PS4 version came out.
No,
which was rather a smack around the old face.
I know. I'm so tempted to buy it because I want to replay those games again.
I don't, because it's not been long ago.
Well, yeah, you just...
I can remember those the most. I think out of all the Final Fantasy, I probably played them the most, because around that time I didn't have that many games, and I just used to keep replaying it, and especially because 10.2 had New Game Plus.
When people talk about combat systems from Final Fantasy series, obviously the ones that come up as some of the favorites are the Materia system, the system from Final Fantasy 7, or the Final Fantasy 6-3 with the combos. Some people really like 8. I like 8's junction system. A lot of people hate it, but a lot of people forget about the dress sphere system from 10.2.
I think a lot of people forget about 10-2 in general.
10-2
'cause
is a phenomenal game.
it is.
It is really, really good. If you can get over the girliness of it, I mean, a lot of the interactions are...
But I like that because it was such a different aspect from the original, where it was very doom and gloom and like, oh, the world's going to end. We're going to be killed by a giant whale.
I think in order to fully appreciate 10-2, you have to have played and enjoyed 10. Obviously, it's a story continuation, but it's an expansion on Yuna's character, is what it is. And
yeah, because Yuna was very reserved in the first one. She was just this girl who was being chucked into this horrible thing where she had to do. She basically, spoilers, all the way through Final Fantasy X, Yuna knows she's going to die, basically.
Yep.
So that's why she's all doom and gloom, because she has to do the final summoning, which kills Sin.
Yep.
And then she's going to die. But once she's done that, she's free of the shackles, she can enjoy life. But as anybody who plays Final Fantasy X knows, Tidus, I'm never sure how you say it, disappears at the end of Final Fantasy X because he's a dream, basically. And the sequel's about her quest to get him back, which is, if you played through Final Fantasy X, you're talking probably about 40, 50 hours of your life. You get really invested with these characters.
Yeah.
So when you play 10-2, you actually want to discover where he went and if you can bring him back.
And that was one thing that I didn't necessarily enjoy about 10-2, is that you could tell pretty much immediately from the first vision sighting of Tidus that, like, okay, that's not him.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have alluded...
Everybody was going, is it him? Is it him? Has he got a new outfit?
Very clearly it's not him, because his facial structure is completely different. It's not him.
Well, it's not. It's very similar. He's got similar hair.
I don't... See, that's kind of a polarizing story aspect in 10 that I feel like it's one of those traditional story tropes that, like, oh, it's all a dream, but they modified it to be, oh, this person's a dream, and the whole concept behind it, and again, sorry, spoilers, but the game's been out for 10 years now, so whatever.
If you haven't played it, bugger off.
I kind of like the whole idea that this world is in such peril that they need to fabricate a hero for themselves, and they just fabricate Tidus. But then again, that right there destroys the entire story, because if you just fabricate somebody, really nothing's going to happen. Like, oh, he's not real, so therefore anything he didn't really happen.
Well, he was real, just because when the faith disappears, because they made him real, he disappears. You see?
I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I always thought it, because if you actually look at it, Tidus is basically a dream of the faith, which I use to summon the Aeons.
Yeah, so Tidus in essence is an Aeon.
Well, no, he's a product of the faith who produced the Aeons.
Well,
so,
you could argue that he is a planetary Aeon. He's an Aeon for the good of the people.
Well, he protects people as well, so maybe. Oh, look, hidden depth to Final Fantasy X.
We should play through that in a future show.
Yeah,
Talk about that's such a good game, and I think
it is a very good game.
I
think you still need to play a 12 though.
Unfortunately, that's when the series took a turn towards linearity. And
I don't know though; it's still a huge game.
It is, but it's one of those games where if you don't do everything in a certain location, you don't get to go back and do it till the absolute end of the game.
Yeah, but Eric, if you think about it, on the old Final Fantasies, you still kind of have a linear path you have to go to. You can sometimes go towards the latter half of the game. You can certainly explore and go back places, but halfway through, like Final Fantasy VIII, you can't go back from the first continent and go back to Balam Garden, can you?
Yeah, you can. Pretty early, you get the mobile garden and you can go back.
No, but that's about halfway through.
Yeah, I suppose it's that perceived illusion of open world.
Yeah, like on Final Fantasy VII, you're stuck in Midgar for hours.
I liked that though. And again, here's a tangent, but I really enjoyed how Final Fantasy VII set up their game, because Final Fantasy VIII was like, boom, here you go, out into the world, and they just kick you out, and you get about 15 minutes of character development to like, why should I hate Cypher? Why is he a douche? Why should I not like these guys? Why are Raijin and Fujin here? Like, you don't get any of that buildup, whereas 7, you're right, it's about 7 to 8 hours, depending on how much you do, before you're kicked out into the world, and by the time you do that, you have such a deep appreciation and understanding of these characters that you actually want to see them through to the end of the story.
Yeah, and then there's so many questions still to be answered, like when you first go out of Midgar and you end up in Calm, and they have that big talk about the past and what happened and things like that. Again, you know how much I'm looking forward to the remake. So
have you beat Crisis Core yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh man,
you distracted me with Psychonauts.
Because you get to replay that Calm, that whole story. Because when you get to Calm, you do that huge flashback. Towards the end of Crisis Core, you actually get to replay that from Zach's perspective.
Yeah, I've done the Mako reactor bit.
No, I'm talking about the flashback in Nibelheim with Sephiroth.
Yeah, that's the Mako reactor section where Genova is and stuff. Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, yeah,
I'm that far, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Crisis Core is a very underappreciated game.
I think it's because it's a PSP game.
If anything, that game...
If they remastered that right and released it alongside the remake,
could you imagine?
It would just be snapped up. It would be snapped up.
Could you imagine, like...
Or if they incorporated elements into the remake.
What if they just included it? What if 6 months beforehand they said, oh, by the way, we're including Crisis Core?
Oh, don't say that, because it'll make it take even longer to finish.
I think...
that game is just so high on my radar.
Remake of Type 0.
I know.
Which I can understand why they did, because it had never been released in America, but...
I can see them focusing on the remake first, Eric, and then if it does really well, which it will, let's face it, and then...
I don't want them to remake it. I just want them to release it on a modern console. Okay, maybe slap some new graphics on it, but don't fully remake Crisis Core.
Oh, no. It's a very good game as it stands.
If anything,
I think we discussed it a while back, so I'm not going to go into the technicalities of how it works.
If anything should have been a system seller for the PSP, it should have been Crisis Core.
Yeah, I wonder why it wasn't. Very strange.
I don't know. So we should probably move on to kind of the main point of what we're playing. We've been requested to tackle a more in-depth game, and I think we chose about as in-depth of a game as we could possibly find. We haven't done a platformer in a while, so we're covering Psychonauts from the lovely people at Double Fine. And it's unfortunate that Tom and Jess aren't here to chat with us. Tom is off with his mother dearest. I believe it's Tom's birthday this weekend. And then... Oh,
happy birthday, Tom.
Jess is still looking for her vocal cords.
Yes. She's descending more into being Batman every day.
Well, no, now she's more like Ariel from Little Mermaid. She just straight up can't talk.
Oh, dear. Oh, poor Jess. Yeah, no shit. What the hell's she done?
I have no idea.
Well, we're about an hour in and we've discussed that, so yeah, they're not here.
In case you're wondering, they're not just waiting for the most opportune time to speak. They just aren't here.
No. We thought about doing the voices, but that would be too much effort.
Yeah. Lord knows I can't be bothered to do that.
No.
So, Psychonauts, Dan, you've never played this before, have you?
No, this is the very, very first time.
I feel like...
I've heard of it. I have heard of it, and it's always kind of been on the radar, but I before we get into it, Eric, I just have to discuss how much of a nightmare it was actually getting the game.
Oh, God.
Basically, I don't know why, but on the English PSN, Psychonauts is not there. So what I had to do is make a brand new email address, make a brand new PSN account, and then convince it was then say it was American to get on the store where Psychonauts is. I finally got through all that. That took ages. And then I finally got to the store, went to download it, and then it said, right, need either your PayPal or your credit card information. And because neither of any of them I have is American, it would not let me buy it. So then I had to go to Eric, say, buy this. and then send him some money. Thank you, by the way. You're very trusting.
Yes.
He actually let me go on his account just to buy it.
I gave you unrestricted access to my bank account for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I could have basically just bought everything on the PlayStation Store right then and there.
I've got 4,000 items in my basket. Purchase!
So thank you, Eric. Very trusting.
You're welcome. Yeah, you had to put in my address.
I'm sorry about all your money being gone.
Yeah, well, whatever. I can always make more of it.
Yeah, you got it. It's fine.
Yeah, it was a tedious process. I had to do the same thing for Tom because he had to download it as well. That's pretty much the only avenue. I have physical copies of it, but for both the Xbox and the PS2. But I kind of wanted the convenience of wireless controllers and not having to fuss with memory cards and all of that. So I think
it's quite expensive to buy.
Yeah, it's
new.
For the longest time when I worked at GameStop, it was a really rare game to see come in, and it was one of those that GameStop would jack the price up on it to like $45 used.
Yeah.
And I managed to pick up a copy of each console for pretty cheap. But I've never completely played all the way through it. I'm back up to the point where I've always gotten before. But it's one of those platforming games that is really, really underappreciated for how well built of a game it actually is.
I wouldn't classify it necessarily as a platformer. It's got platforming elements, but it's also part RPG.
It's a weird hybrid of a lot of genres.
Oh, yeah. I said this to you earlier in the week, it's very much a product of the time. Like those kind of PS2 platformers where it's everything kind of works, but it's kind of tricky to navigate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the level design in this, because it's a bit crazy, it kind of makes it a bit more difficult as well.
So, yeah, the game itself is... trying to figure out the best way to classify this. It's an adventure game where you play as a teenage boy named Raz or Rasputin who sneaks away from home to join a summer camp for psychic students training to become psychonauts. But all the students in that camp are just complete morons.
Yes.
And when Raz shows up, it's just in time for basic braining, which is run by some military-esque guy who's getting them ready to go into the psychic universe and train them to become psychonauts. A nefarious scheme is uncovered where there's a member of the camp is stealing all the kids' brains, and Raz has to go on this quest to recover all of their brains with the ultimate goal of recovering this girl's brain who he kind of has a semi-thing for.
Yes.
That's the gist of the story.
What you didn't touch upon is the fact that it's not all in the real world. Quite a lot of the actual levels are you use your mental powers to project your consciousness into someone else's brain.
And that's where things get...
crazy results.
That's where things get really good. If you're playing this alongside of us, or if you haven't played it and are planning to, take the time to, first of all, appreciate the story and the characters, but look for everything that you can that opens up the story more, because this game is exceptionally well thought out and unbelievably clever in its design, in both world structure, but in also storytelling, because at its root, it's a psychological game. It's all based in psychology. I mean, there's tons of references, like figments of the imagination.
Mental cobwebs.
Mental cobwebs, emotional baggage, secret vaults, sensors. So like you said before, it's a product of its time with platformers where you go around, there's things to collect and things to unlock and things to find. But they built it into such a fashion. Like, they could have just put, oh, there's coins, go get those. Or, oh, there's this, go get that. But instead, they weave all of this stuff together into this really intricate game. When you project yourself into someone's consciousness, there are figments of imagination. So there are these things that look like they belong. So if you're in a living room, there could be a real chair. But if there's the person thinks there's 5 more chairs, there'll just be these 2D shadows that you can go and collect. And by collecting these figments of imagination, it increases your psychic rank. there's emotional baggage hidden throughout the level, which the first time I saw that, I laughed hysterically. It's so funny because
It is so clever.
everybody and their mother has emotional baggage. And you're walking around the level, and the first time you see it, it's this gigantic steamer suitcase crying hysterically. And you have to find a luggage tag hidden somewhere in the world and bring it back to make that emotional baggage happy, and you collect it. It doesn't really do anything for you, but it's just... It's hilarious in that they incorporated that psychological aspect into the game.
I like it how the luggage tag kind of caresses it. It's really good. But it does actually unlock things if you collect all of them in one level. Mm-hmm. It unlocks primal memories, which is concept art and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The secret vaults are pretty clever, too, because when they explain it the first time you see one, it's like, everybody's got secrets, and we all store them away in these little vaults to forget about them. But now that you are in somebody's mind, you can unlock these vaults. And it's just this vault that looks like a dog running around, and if you hit it, it opens up to kind of this 2D slideshow that further...
It's like one of those viewfinders used that way. You click it down, isn't it?
It's
really
exactly
cool.
what it is. And it further explains, and they put these vaults in such a place in the level that you already have a minimal understanding of whose mind you're in, what's going on with them, and why they are the way that they are. But once you find this vault, then it shows, like, hey, this is what happened in their real life to bring their consciousness to this state. And it adds another layer to the storytelling.
But what I really like about it, Eric, is that it explores different people's psyches. Like, every level is different because of the baggage they have and what's affecting them. It's just so clever. The level design is just... Every level is different, and it's really, really, really clever.
I think my favorite aspect of this is the enemies. And when you go through that tutorial level where you learn to fight the sensors when you're in Sasha's mind... And why he explains that those enemies are there. Like, they could have just done anything. They could have said, okay, here's enemies. But instead, they say, we need to have a justification for why there's an enemy within your mind. And in everybody's mind, you have a mental filter or a sensor that just prevents everything from just spilling out. And there are these guys that look like bureaucrats with stamps, like the do not enter stamps. And they go around stamping things, just censoring it out so you maintain your sanity. But they also see that Raz isn't supposed to be there, so they are therefore the enemies, and you fight the sensors within the mind, because otherwise they will kick you out. It's just...
Basically, Raz is a foreign body in someone else's mind, isn't he? So the sensors are like, this shouldn't be.
It's one of the coolest justifications for why an enemy is an enemy, instead of other than, like, it's just an enemy, whatever, enjoy it, kill it.
Yeah.
And then in Sasha's mind, you kill all of the sensors, and I love the justification that he gives for, like, you didn't kill all of them, did you? And Raz is like, well, yeah. And he goes, if you stop all of the sensors, then there's a buildup of these sensors, and it just explodes because you have to be able to censor things. And then that's where the first boss battle comes in. It's this giant sensor, and it's really, really, really cool.
It is, but I really like just the aspect of exploring other people's brains, and it's so
weird.
I know. The Milkman level. Oh my god.
That is one of my favorite platforming levels of all time. But before let's kind of go through this sequentially before we get to the Milkman or the Milkman conspiracy level. The first one that you get to, so there's the real world, which is camp, and there's a bunch of different sections, and there's things that you can collect like psi cards. Once you collect psi cards, you can fuse them into a psi core and increase your rank and unlock new power-ups. You have psychic power-ups. We should probably touch on those a little bit.
I found, when you get the mental cobweb duster that you can buy from the shop.
Yes.
I found that I really had to grind to get the arrowheads.
Did you? So I was actually going to bring that up.
I did eventually get the
dowsing rod.
The dowsing rod. But I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of the frustrating aspects. Is there are arrowheads which serve as money, and they're just if you break things, they'll pop out, or there are arrowheads hidden in the ground that when you pop them out, you get one. and the mental cobweb duster is 800. So how much?
I had 200, and I was about halfway through. So
did you finally just say screw it and look it up and see how you had to get it?
Yes, I did. Because I was like, I am not grinding for those for that long. Because you actually get to one level and it goes, you will need the mental cobweb duster here to get ahead. And it says you could try it if you want, but you won't get very far. It's like, okay, then best go get that.
Yeah, it was a chore, but once you get it, I think that's the only thing.
It only took me about half an hour to collect 800 once I had the dowsing rod, because you get like 50 a time.
And the closer you get to its actual location, the more you get.
Yeah.
But the first major level that you go to, well, actually, I'm trying to figure out how we can go through this sequentially so it makes sense.
Well, you start off in the camp, and you have to go to the basic braining, which is in the military commander's mind. Yeah. That's where you learn the mechanics, first of all. So let's start there.
Well, that's just the big tutorial for the game. I think after that, you uncover this demon within your own consciousness, and that's the rest of the tutorial where you have to go and you have to get your psychic shot. But you have this vision of this crazy doctor who actually ends up being a dentist taking children's brains. And you come back out into the real world and you go, hey guys, I think there's something bigger going on here. And then most of the adults just disappear from the camp. So it's on you to find out what the hell is going on. And to do that, you need to make it to the insane asylum on the other side of the lake. But you can't do that until you beat this lake monster, who is just, it's a hilarious enemy. But you go into, the first psyche that you go into is this gigantic lungfish. So those lungfish are these big, ugly fish with the light that hangs out in front of them. And I was going to talk to you about this level in particular. It's called Lungfishopolis, where this one level,
so clever.
This one level is better than 90% of the monster mashup games out there. Because we played the King of Monsters, and
oh god, don't remind me.
This game was this level was so awesome. You go in, and in this lungfish mind, there is this whole city, and you become this gigantic intruding invader that just knocks down buildings. You're giant, but what's so cool is that they slow your movements down to the point it's like, okay, I feel really big, and you're fighting against like tanks and helicopters and airplanes and
I loved some of the dialogue that it tries to make you kind of feel bad for destroying the buildings. They're going, "That's my cheese shop."
He's going for the orphanage. It's like,
he's missed the orphanage.
It's like, actually, no, he got the orphanage. But everybody calls you Goggalor, which I think was hilarious.
Yeah, well, basically, we haven't touched on that. Raz wears goggles when he's in the psychic mode, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. And that's why they call him Goggalor. And then you have to go and beat another giant entity who's the protector of the city. But he really, basically, the premise of going into the lungfish's mind is he's got like a sensor in him that's mutated him and made him a slave to this guy.
Yeah.
The dentist guy, isn't it? And you have to go and destroy that sensor, but because it's in his brain, he thinks that you're the enemy.
Well, that was my one question, where this one part didn't quite fit in with the rest of what was going on. Because you get to the end and you have to fight Conchamara. And
yes,
he's hilarious because he's almost like a really stupid luchador where he's like, hard to avoid aerial attack. And like he just tells you what he's doing.
I love that.
And mighty triangle beam. And he shoots just, it's so dumb. An overly intricate combination.
So good.
But Raz calls him out as, like, you're the coach. And, like, where are you projecting from? But that's the only time that's made a reference.
Does it not come back later? Well, don't spoil it, actually.
I'm not sure. But the lungfish one it's a pretty basic introductory level to the psyche. But it serves as a method of transportation to get you across the lake. And I've totally forgot about this part. But once you free this lungfish of his plight, you get to the other side of the lake and you say, "Thank you, giant lungfish." And in his deep, booming voice, he's like, "You can call me by the name that my people have given me." And Red's like, "Oh, what's that?" He goes, "Linda." It just goes back into the ocean. Like, oh!
Didn't it say something stupid? Like, really hard to say. It did on mine.
No, it just says Linda.
Oh, maybe I got garbled, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, from there, you're on the insane asylum island. Then you meet this completely insane security guard who's guarding the gates. And this is the part where I couldn't figure out what to do, and I had to look it up. Because then, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, of course, because at one point you get this little door thing, which is in your items, and you can put it on people's heads to go into the mind. Mm-hmm. And then I must also say, the guy, the Agent Kruller, he's a legendary psychonaut who's kind of insane. Yeah. And he gives you a piece of bacon, which you can use to call.
I love that.
You just shake this bit of bacon, and he pops out the side of your head and talks to you. And it's just so crazy. It's just so good, though. And then you go, Agent Kruller, what should I be doing now? And he goes, oh, you should go inside that guy's mind and see what's going on. And I was like, of course.
That's a good Agent Kruller. That's a good impression.
Thank you. It's my American accent.
But it sounded just like Agent Kruller. Do I smell bacon?
Do I smell bacon?
You know I love bacon.
I love bacon. I do love bacon. Anyway, so then I was like, it clicked, and I was like, oh yes, of course you must go inside his mind, and that's where it really gets crackers.
God, the Milkman level is one of the most hilarious levels. I like all of the other ones, but the Milkman conspiracy level it solidifies this game as just hilarious.
It is just
the dialogue,
so clever.
Go ahead, I'll let you explain this one.
Basically, the security guard's he's just completely off his tits.
Before we get into the level, when you pop into his head, you show up in his house, and he's got all these newspaper clippings, and apparently he's trying to figure out what happened to the Milkman. And my favorite line from what he says is after he tells you to go, he's like, what'd you say? He's like, tell your hat to shut up. It's like...
This guy is absolutely batshit. But basically in his mind he has this other personality called the Milkman, which is an insane milkman who likes to set things on fire.
Well, and
you gradually discover
his secret vault within the level kind of explains why he developed that. So that goes back to the multi-layer storytelling.
I love on this level. There's these guys who are like they look like detectives,
yeah,
but they're all pretending to be really boring things. They say just the most stupid things. Like you have to collect loads of different items so you could blend in with them at different times.
We're the road worker. We work on the road.
That woman over there has large breasts.
I actually wrote that down too. Look at that woman's breasts. They're large.
It's so good. I am trimming this hedge with my hedge shears.
That is a mighty fine milk can. Might I ask you how much you paid for it? So proper, but if you walk into their range without the proper item, then they go crazy. They're like,
yeah. Who is the milkman? Who is the milkman?
Where is the milkman? What is he doing? But
it's just, I like one of my favorite ones is the guy in the house who goes, I am making a pie. What? I can see you are a grieving widow.
And then Raz is like, I am a grieving widow. And then the rest of the G-Men are like, I am your sister in grief. Should I remarry or remain faithful to my spouse?
It's so good.
Oh, God. But the level itself is really confusing because it's not just basic, straightforward walking through this neighborhood. So you're walking through like this 1950s style post-World War II neighborhood. And you can go into the houses and collect things, but the world wraps around itself. So you jump from one street to the other. So it's kind of like Inception, where you're on the flat street, but then the street next to you is vertical, but when you jump on it, gravity shifts. And
reminds me of Mario Galaxy in many
except
ways.
Instead of going around the outside, you're going around the inside.
Yeah.
But you have to, like you said, you have to find all these items, like you have to find a watering can or a stop sign or a rolling pin. or flowers.
A gun as well.
The flower was the hardest one for me to really figure out, because when you walk into that moratorium, you can go to the right and open the gate, and then you get a crow's feather, and there's a power up you get in this level called clairvoyance, where if you're holding on to an item, you can use clairvoyance to then see the world from the aspect of the person or item attached to the one in your hand. So in this case, it's a crow.
That really confused me, actually. That bit.
So you hold on to the crow's feather, use clairvoyance, and it shows you that, oh, the gate where this flower is open. But once you walk back through the gate, it closes, and you go around to the other side, and the gate's closed. So you have to draw that correlation of, oh, I walk through this gate, it's open, so I need to walk back and jump over the gate instead of closing it to make sure that other one stays open. But my favorite bit was in the cemetery. You get the flower and you walk in, and they're all talking about being a grieving widow. But this one G-man that you walk by, and he goes, the cemetery is filled with dead people.
I didn't hear that
God.
one. That's excellent.
The assassin or the G-men are just the most hilarious aspect. But yeah, like you said, you get a gun later. And actually, before that, one of the cool parts was you go to the very end when you have to trick that guy into letting you into the building, and use clairvoyance to view him putting the key into the keypad. But you go into the level or into the room, and it's dark, but you have to get an item at the end of the building, so you have to use clairvoyance to see yourself from the view of the cameras. It's just like little bits like that make it such a...
It's quite hard to figure out, though.
Yeah, and they don't hold your hand. Like, nothing pops up saying, use clairvoyance.
You can use your piece of bacon to summon help, though.
He doesn't really help that much, though.
He does at times.
Oh, man. I'm looking through some...
Why don't you use clairvoyance here?
I'm looking through some more of these quotes from the G-Men, and the one about the guy making the pie. Or Raz walks in, he's like, I am baking a pie. And the G-Man, if you stay in there long enough, he starts saying new quotes. He's like, you better not be trying to steal my husband, tramp. Cherry is a flavor of pie. Rhubarb is a controversial pie variety. Just, the writing is so brilliant in this. But
it is very, very good.
Go ahead and finish out the Milkman level.
Oh, well, basically, like I said before, you find the milkman, which is basically the same guy as the security guard, but he's lying in like a bed covered with glass, surrounded by milk bottles
that look like they should be flowers.
Yeah. And this crazy woman, I forget who she is. What was she?
The den mother. So she was kind of this lady who was.
It's kind of a cult surrounding the milkman, isn't there?
The Girl Scouts and the Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, but they have explosives in.
She was trying to protect. She was trying to keep the milkman inside because he's crazy. He's absolutely batshit. Like you think Boyd Cooper, the security guard, is nuts. Wait till you meet the milkman.
Yeah, and then basically you fight her and free the milkman. So basically, what you end up doing is you unlock this crazy part of his psyche that he's repressed, and set him off, just so he'll open the gates for you.
So he stands at the gate of the insane asylum with flaming milk bottles, just wanting to get in.
I don't know if he gets in at some point, Eric. So don't
I'm
spoil
not going
it,
to.
Good.
But it's at this point when you pop back out into the real world that another aspect of the game is incorporated, where you can start finding the other children's brains. And when you find their brains, you take them back to Agent Cruller for recranialization. And he puts the brains back in. He's like, is it going to hurt? He's like, no, but it sure is messy. And basically he just crams the brain back in through their ear with a funnel. And they come out, and Raz tries to tell them what's going on, but they don't give a crap. I like how...
I tell you what I loved, though, Eric, when that really stupid kid's brain goes missing, everybody just goes, he's just like that.
Dogan is so funny. He's like, he's talking about, he was asking Raz a question about, has anybody's head ever exploded? And Raz is like, no, does that happen? Dogan's like, no. Well, maybe 4 or 5 times. Just funny.
They're all quite funny, to be honest.
Oh, man.
I like all like the one who's convinced somebody's a boyfriend when he isn't or something. And it's just
I
so
like
good.
how Raz is just this bratty little teenage guy. Like he always there's a bully in camp named Bobby Zilch, and he just always refers to him as stupid Bobby Zilch.
Yes.
But after the Milkman conspiracy level, you have to start making your way through this insane asylum to get to Dr. Lobato.
Well, no, you don't actually have to get into the insane asylum first. You have to go to a greenhouse.
Yeah, so you have to find your way
outside,
in, and the only way in is through a greenhouse, and you find... You don't think that people can get any more batshit than the Milkman, but like every character progresses through, and they just get stranger and stranger.
They're just so funny.
Like Becky's stage show is the next one, where it's this insane old lady who's convinced she still has a face full of youth, and you delve into her psyche, and she's this neurotic stage director trying to put on a show that sucks. And there's this big critic up in the audience that's just constantly telling her.
No, hang on. It's not her psyche. It's the fallen star whose psyche it is. Becky's just a part of her consciousness.
Oh yeah,
the stage director. So it's basically like she used to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you find out her mother died or something, and that set her on a downhill slope or something.
That's who it is. Bonita the Sunshine. Yeah. You assume it's a girl, but it's a guy.
Is it?
It's a guy. Listen to the voice. That's why the stage director.
Oh yeah, that's part of a that's part of a psyche.
Yeah, so the stage director is Becky, isn't it? Or is okay.
Yes, but Becky's part of her consciousness.
This was an exceptionally difficult level.
Oh yeah, this one was a bit tedious.
Yeah, this is my least favorite of all of them, but it's still funny because the whole
concept,
the whole point of it is you have to collect pieces of a script. And you have to put on this play, but there's a lamp up in the catwalks that can change the mood of the play from happy to sad. And depending on the mood, the play changes. And the play itself is Becky's childhood and how her dad left her and how she came to how she is. And there's only 3 parts to it, technically 6, depending on how you have the lamp. But you need to find this perfect combination to allow you to get up to a balloon to take you up into the rafters because there's a phantom in the theater who's killing people.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And once you get up there, the platforming section up above was a bit difficult. This one wasn't as smooth, and I think that's just a product of
well, that's what I was on about earlier, how it's the PS2 kind of platformers are quite tricky because the cameras aren't the best, so kind of have to, like when you have to bounce up tight ropes, it's very hard to know where to jump.
You can utilize some of your power-ups, like the levitation where you hop on a ball, you can jump really high and then float.
Even that's still a bit janky though. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But you can, in later levels when we get to the Waterloo world, I'll tell you how I kind of cheated the system a little bit using that. But the whole point of Becky's stage show is to track down this phantom who ultimately ends up being the critic in the stands. He's been the phantom all along. And it kind of dives into the whole, that's what's causing all of her stress was these critics. And you can see that from an actor's standpoint is the critics are either your best friend or your worst enemy. And for Becky, they were her worst enemy because everything she did sucked, according to this critic. And the critic kept killing the people because... I don't remember why.
Because he wants her to remain bad because he's a horrible
That's right.
critic,
He doesn't want her to succeed. This boss battle was very frustrating. I beat it the first go, but getting up to, like, unless you really think about your powers that you have and what you have to do, there's a bunch of musical notes. And when you use your levitation, if there's like a chimney with smoke or there's an air gust, you can use that to lift you up. So you have to jump on these horns and then float up to the catwalks up above and put candles in and then turn the spotlights on because he hates the light. So that injures him.
You use your pyrokinesis power, don't you?
Yeah, you have to light the candles, drop down, hurt him, repeat 3 times, then it's done.
That's another thing I found about Psychonauts. It's a bit cumbersome, like switching between all the different things and stuff. Like on the Milkman level where you had to select all the different items, that was a bit
Well,
cumbersome, to be honest.
if you have an item, you can press circle to put it in your bag, but you should also be able to press circle to bring it out again.
But you can't. You have to go in the menu and select it again. It's okay. It's just a game of its era.
It's not detracting from the enjoyment of the game in the slightest.
No. I'm enjoying it a lot. I am. So
you've made it up to the next level, the Waterloo world, correct?
Yes, which was very funny. Basically, you get inside the insane asylum, and there's this guy with really long legs, and he's in a straitjacket, and he's wearing a Napoleon hat, and he thinks he is Napoleon, and he randomly keeps speaking in a French accent, but the other part of his psyche comes through, and he starts speaking normally, and then Napoleon comes back and says, "What are you doing? Why are you talking like this?" It's just so good. Then you have to go inside his brain to get rid of his Napoleon complex. And it's just so clever.
Well, he apparently...
Again, I've just thought about that, because that is another thing to do with the brain, isn't it?
A Napoleon complex. You are a small person that wants to be larger, but you...
Yeah, but he is a descendant of Napoleon.
That's another facet to that whole ailment, is that he is a direct descendant of Napoleon, but he doesn't care to be. So his psyche has developed this internal Napoleon who's pushing him to want to succeed and want to win, but Fred is his name, just doesn't give a shit. So you go into Fred's mind, and he's just sitting in this parlor playing a gigantic game of chess/civilization with his angry Napoleon ancestor who is just whooping his ass, and Fred just doesn't care. So it becomes your mission to dive into this board game and convince these people on his side of the board to want to work with him and win. And it becomes this multi-layered Inception-like platforming where you have 3 levels. You have the main size level where you're out talking to Fred and Napoleon. Then you can drop down into the board where you're mid-size and you can move the pieces around the board. Or you can get even smaller and go down into the physical world of the board and talk to the people within and fight the enemies within and convince them, okay, hey, you need to come out and fight for Napoleon, but the people will give you an objective. Like, no, I'm not going to fight for him unless he pays me. So you have to go back out to Napoleon and then get him to either write a letter saying, hey, I care, or here's some money, and take that back in. And you get peasants who just, for some reason, they're so willing to die for Napoleon, even though they don't care. Like, everyone's just super pessimistic. Like, tell my wife, whatever, I'm going to go off and die for someone who doesn't care, and...
Yeah, it's just great. But like when we've been talking about this, that what strikes me is the fact that every level is different and detailed and really cleverly thought out.
There's no reusing of any facets of any level.
No. The core elements are the same, where you have to use your powers and what you have to solve things, but every level is really well done. It's there's no grinding. It's because everything is so interesting and it explores so many different parts of the brain and how we all have these neuroses and stuff. It's just really clever. Look at me breaking out the big words.
No kidding. Earlier today, you couldn't even think of at and just the walkie thingy.
They are the walkie thingy.
And it's one of those things where you can enjoy the game for what it is without paying any attention to those psychology references. But if you take the time to really think about it and pay attention to what's happening, it really kind of uncovers the brilliance behind this game and the amount of thought that actually went into it. Because platforming games on the PS2 were a dime a dozen, and there were a lot of good ones. Jak and Daxter, the Ratchet and Clank games, Spyro. But to get one that actually had some depth to it was very rare, and this one had depth in multitude. And
oh yeah,
I just, like you said, every level is so drastically different and so engaging that I have yet to really find a part of this game that felt like, okay, this kind of sucks.
I didn't like the player level too much, but it's still good.
Yeah, it
just got a bit tedious, but it's still very good game. And I do like how it's very cleverly written because it just does delve into the brain.
You need to pay attention to what the people are saying. Like, the peasants in this level are some of my favorite characters. When Raz pays one of them, his quote is something like, "Woohoo, money!" And then he looks at his wife, he's like, "Hey, I'm off to die for an incompetent leader who probably won't even remember my name." He's like, "You're in my will." And then Raz tries to rally these people, and he's like, "Come on, why are you guys talking so negatively?" And this guy responds with like, "I just hope she doesn't go and spend it all on scrapbook supplies." And it's just a trailing line that just makes so much sense to anybody who's married. And he's like, "Part of the reason I'm so ready to die." It's just brilliant writing in every aspect of this. But what you were talking about before, there's a part in this level where I couldn't figure out how to properly get to where I needed to go. And it was towards the end when you have to find the soldier's rifle in the hay.
Oh, yeah. That was quite difficult.
There's a building where you go into this blacksmith shop, and there's some sensors in there that you kill, and you can get up to where you need to go, but there's a cage surrounding the window you need to get out. And you can't jump up high enough to get into that window. So I went outside, got on my levitation ball, bounced up, and found just a sweet spot on top of the sign outside to jump up and then land on the rope. Totally like you're not supposed to. But I manipulated the world.
Yeah, I think I did something similar. So, yeah, I think I did.
But this one ends with you basically have to storm Napoleon's castle, and you're helping Fred overcome his Napoleon complex and show his ancestor that, hey, I'm your true ancestor. And when you end up beating him, Napoleon gives you, or Fred gives you his straitjacket, which kind of leads into the push to the final sum of the game here, where there's an elevator leading up to the top of this asylum, and there's an orderly guarding it who is Dr. Lobato's orderly. He's almost blind, but he can still pick out, like, oh, you're not Dr. Lobato, so you need to find a disguise to let him by. And Dr. Lobato has a claw for a hand, and he wears a straitjacket and a goofy, he's just got a goofy face. So you walk up to this guy, and you can put the straitjacket on. So he's like, oh, Dr. Lobato, I see you're wearing your favorite jacket. But wait a minute, did somebody reattach your arm? Like, those guys at camp are getting really good, so you need to go through these different levels. And when you beat Gloria's level, she gives you a trophy, so that can become your hand. And then the last piece is you go up to this guy. Have you played the Matador level yet?
I haven't. No, that's where I stopped.
Then that's where we're going to stop, because I don't want to spoil any of the Matador level for you. But that one, I would say if I had to isolate my least favorite one, it might be that one. Just because it's... Well, I don't know. Now that we talk about the stage one, that one might be my least favorite. The Matador level is really cool in its design. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, okay. Don't say anything else, because I'm going to play it.
So, yeah, I got through the Matador level. I'm working my way towards the boss. I will let you know there is... If you do want to go through and collect everything, like find all the brains, find all of the... scavenger hunt items, which, have you found any?
A few.
Where are they?
Just all over them.
Like in the real world?
In the real world?
I haven't found any.
Yeah.
But
okay, you're not looking hard enough.
There is a point of no return where if you crest that point, you cannot go back and do any of that other stuff. So if you want to find out where that point of no return is, just look it up and find out where that is.
I'm not too bothered. You only get rank ups. Not really.
So... that's as far as we got up to in Psychonauts, and I can't sing this game's praises enough. It's just one of the most brilliantly well thought out games that...
I'm very glad you recommended it. I'm really having a good time with it. I'm looking forward to playing the next section, but I've stopped because you said that's where you got up to.
Yeah. It's long for a platform game. It's long. It's about 12.
It is, but a lot of the games from that era were like Jak and Daxter. That was a good lengthy game. So was Ratchet and Clank.
Some of the Ratchet and Clank games started to feel like they were droning on. Jak and Daxter.
Oh, I love the originals.
Yeah, but it's just repeated elements.
Yeah, but this isn't Psychonauts, is it? It's very different. So yeah, we like Psychonauts.
I highly, highly recommend it. It's like $4.99 on the PSN store.
But you will need an American account if you're not American.
That is true. You will need that.
And if you send Eric a message, he will give you his PayPal information, and then you can
probably won't.
Oh.
So we're going to be finishing up Psychonauts for our next show.
Yes,
which
we are.
There may be a surprise for it. Fingers crossed, may.
Oh, very cryptic.
Yes. We are off next week, the 18th. I am out of town.
Where are you going?
Christy and I are going on a weekend getaway to the mountains.
Bomb chicka wow.
And then
Saucy.
The following week, the 25th-ish, depending on our surprise, we'll finish Psychonauts. And then the 1st,
We will.
Silent Hill.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. I cannot wait to hear how you crapped your pants playing this.
I will. Don't worry.
And I expect you to finish it.
There will be much shitting
Because the
everywhere.
game is short. It's like 8 hours long. If you can't...
I don't want it.
It's good, Dan. I wish we had an avenue to play Silent Hill 2, but I'm not going to expect everybody to purchase the HD collection just to play it.
I'm not.
Yeah, especially. It's hard enough to convince you to spend $5 on Silent Hill 1.
We should see if we could get Silent Hill Netplay working. That would be fun.
There's no multiplayer.
Yeah, but we could just play it together and it would be funny.
All right, we'll give that a shot.
Maybe.
If you want to send us an email or your thoughts on Psychonauts or make a good suggestion, factorysealed@manatank.com. One other thing to touch on, we have revamped our naming convention for the shows. Something that...
Finally.
Something that was a long time coming. So if you've seen in your feed, our shows now have...
Stupid titles.
Stupid-ish titles. So I know in iTunes it doesn't show the explanation of the show necessarily, or if you're using something else. So what we did is we went through and renamed it and kind of gave it an overview of what's actually in that episode. Plus, it'll help us show up in iTunes a little bit more if somebody just types in a random game like Mega Man 10 and they want to see that.
Yes.
But the other thing, too, is that if you enjoy us, we would greatly appreciate a review on iTunes.
Yes.
We have some reviews up there from way back in 2012 that are still kind of lingering towards the top that touch on things that are really no longer accurate about our show.
Well, considering the cast's entirely changed and all that. So.
But if you can find it in your little heart there to give us a review, we would be eternally grateful. Tom and I, well, actually Tom is working on putting together some sort of structure for giveaways that we want to start doing. So he has yet to share that with me. He dropped it on me and said, hey, I've got a really good idea for giveaways, but I have to go pick my mom up from the airport, so I'll tell you about it later. So that's all I know is that...
First I've heard about it.
Yeah. So we're going to start incorporating something like that. It could be something good. It could be a really shit $2 NES game. Who knows?
Well, it's free, so you get what you're given.
Or it could be a box of dog turds.
Yes. Personal favorite.
Any closing final thoughts, Mr. Dan?
No, I feel I've expelled my intelligence for today. I said neuroses.
Jesus, you're gonna need 2 full weeks to recuperate.
I'm gonna go lie down right now.
Do you have any blood coming out of your ears or your nose?
I do. I think I need somebody to go into my brain and see what's going on.
I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I wouldn't either. It's just images of Lara Croft.
Oh, in a wetsuit?
Yeah.
Interesting. Saucy.
Saucy. Saucy.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Mr. Dan, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on the Twitter at Frosted Sloth.
You can find me at Honest Pizza. We do have a Factory Sealed Twitter, and that is at Factory_Sealed. If you have the at Factory Sealed and aren't using it, which somebody does, and it has precisely nothing on it, can we have it?
Yes, give it to us, please. We love you.
You can.
And we also have a Facebook page, which you can... Well, it probably won't be a random game generator this week because we've already got our game set out. But we occasionally post stuff on there if we're ever alive enough to do something. So please come follow us on Facebook, which is /Factory Sealed.
And if you want to check out even more stupidity, factory-sealed.com is where you can stay up to date on all of the stupid things that we are doing, which is all the time.
And you can also come and watch our stupid videos on Eric's account, which is The Real Honest Pizza.
Or you can just search Honest Pizza. I actually changed it now. The account itself is still The Real Honest Pizza, but it's...
Yeah, we will be getting a video up playing the Battlefront beta, which will be up shortly.
And hell, we may even play more later today.
We may.
So that's going to do it for this week. We will, again, not be back next week. So we will be taking a week off.
I will forget that, so I'll probably be sat here next Sunday at 4 o'clock.
In your knickers.
In my knickers, waiting for this.
Guys, come on, where are you? You'll sit there for the whole time and get to the end and be like, well, I guess there's no show today. Or you could...
I'll just probably do
just
it myself.
Do a straight-up one-man show.
Something. Yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Would that even work?
No. I'm not interested enough.
No, you're really not.
Oh, thanks, Eric.
It takes two. I mean, we have together we have the collective intelligence of one person.
We do, yes.
So, all right, we will see you all in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Shut up. Nobody wants to hear you say bye.
Nobody wants to see you in 2 weeks. Goon.